My name is Justin Smith. I go by IMayonakal on the socials, and I was at Little Rock Air Force Base until my separation back in March. I was a C-130 crew chief for 7 years, started in Kadena Air Base, Japan for 3 years, transferred in 2019 to Little Rock Air Force Base, where I settled down after separating in March 29th of 2023. I am currently now a Security Operations Center analyst, or a SOC analyst for short. My day-to-day job is to ensure the cybersecurity of a company is up to date, protected, defended. I'm more on the blue team side of things, so I'm doing a lot of the digital forensic side of things, analyzing malware, ransomwares, stuff like that, to ensure that the customers of Bank OZK, which is a company I work for, is protected in terms of their information, like social security numbers and et cetera, et cetera. So my first introduction to gaming was actually all the way back with the Game Boy Color. Sitting with it as a kid, playing Pokemon Yellow, Silver Edition, and I just fell in love with games. And then I got into my first console ever was the PlayStation 1. Played the original Gran Turismo and stuff like that, Spyro. Fell in love with Spyro. PlayStation 2 then, so I got into Sly Cooper, and all these old titles that are actually being revised nowadays over the past, I think, 4 or 5 years have really brought back that nostalgia for me. And then it really started picking up in terms of the community of esports and such like that when I started competing with Call of Duty on Xbox for a while. Had a little small team full of military guys. We're just, crazy group of guys at the time. So we did a little bit of MLG competition and stuff like that. We still kept connections, but, we still loved our passion for gaming, and, we played good old Battlefield 4 for hours and hours and hours on end. What's more fun than, attaching a bunch of C4 to a tank, launching it up in the air, and trying to hit an airplane while we're at it. Really enjoyed survival games that allow you to be resourceful, but have to manage those resources to survival, but also my love of FPS too from the Call of Duty scene, and also my time as a esports co-owner for a team called Guidance Gaming. We did our Rainbow Six Siege. I was hugely passionate into that scene for a while. Then I became a community manager for a team, and then I became a streamer / just general gamer for Infamy esports, and then a couple of the community members from that scene wanted to start their own organization, and they asked me to come on board as their co-owner. So I really delved into the aspects of esports in that sense.
And NXT will take a bit of damage here. The long-range game will not work out for him, but actually, I say that, he does hit Aconite and actually takes down the Monty, but they run right into Miracle, who gets the easy kill.
I was able to get connections from all sorts of teams, from like Team Liquid down in Brazil, Team Furia, FaZe Clan, one of the coaches that now coaches for Team Secret, Marlon Twister. He now used to coach for FaZe Clan, but before that, he actually coached our team. So COVID really struck a number, especially in my unit. Buddy of mine that was like, hey, there's this cool game called Warhammer Tabletop. It's a lot of fun. You get to be, Space Marines, aliens. There's a bunch of different aspects for it. You have the gaming side of it, then you have the building side of it, and then you have the painting side of it. After picking up a paintbrush for the first time, painting my first miniatures, I really fell in love with it. That love continued on from there to where, started doing commission work, really showing off my skills. I ended up going to my first competition last year at ReaperCon in Denton, Texas, and ended up getting silver for the painters class, and then bronze for the diorama class. Came out with a lot of connections too from that event. Got some, I wouldn't say sponsorships, but affiliates. From there, I came back, did a couple locals, and got gold, silver, stuff like that in those sense. So pretty early on, I've only been painting since the start of COVID. So within that time span, like I've gone from zero to basically hero from that short of a time. I always find that miniature painting is always my happy place. It's a place where I can, shut the world out entirely and just be in the moment and just relax. I think the only thing I would probably add in the sense is a lot of people, especially within the painting side of things, when it comes to miniature painting, it can be really intimidating. In all honesty, if we're going to put it in reality, as long as you give it a shot, that's what really matters. You try it, if you like it, then cool. But if you don't like it, give it a shot. Pick up a brush. It doesn't actually take a lot to get started. You don't need to spend that much. You can literally go to your local Walmart or whatever your local game store, just a random glass that you have, like this. Use your water cup. Just don't drink out of it. There's plenty of people, whether it be an AFG, your local game store, stuff like that. That's just get started in the community. My love of Pokemon has tied into my miniature painting. So like I have my little miniature here, the little war turtle, yeah.
Public sex.
So how I initially found AFG was just somehow heard about it from one of my co-workers hosting some local events at my base at the time, and someone was like, hey, there's this organization that's kind of starting up that I've heard about, because at the time they were like, we had Army esports and Marine Corps esports that was slowly growing at the time. It was like, hey, I know you're interested in esports, I know you're interested in video games. This group is growing for the Air Force, and they're trying to make up the MWR for the Air Force eventually. And it's like, oh, this actually sounds really cool. What I loved about the military was the brotherhood, the connections, and being able to be surrounded by people of all ways of life and rank. From higher leadership, we had a couple guys like Zach who were captains, and to be an AFG and be able to go into this place and go, hey, this is a first name basis organization. Like, the rank doesn't matter here. Like, we are here to be brothers and sisters in the Air Force and all armed services put together and enjoy what we love together. And you can have a local community of just local people, civilians and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But I feel AFG, what they bring to the table is that it's not just a community, but it's also a community that you can really connect with, because I discovered after my transition out of the Air Force, it felt like a culture shock almost. Like, I'm not able to just go up to a group of my buddies and, talk military lingo anymore. Like, I have to kind of like dumb it down a little bit for people to understand. But to go into a community with AFG that are not just, service members that you can understand with, but a community that's just a wide range of aspects. AFG is not just Call of Duty, Valorant, or these all popular games. It's a wide range of tabletop games, board games, D&D, TCGs from Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, One Piece, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, which is actually what my role was in AFG. I was the game ambassador for the Magic the Gathering side. All this wide range of areas that we can go into and kind of discover also was, I think, the real beauty about AFG. So the diversity and stuff. So if anyone out there was kind of like, should I join this community? Please, I applaud you to join AFG, just because you're not just joining a community of service members, you're also joining basically a giant family that have combined not just the Air Force, but all other service members from around the world, whether it be from the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, our brothers and sisters over in Europe, in the RAF, and the Royal Marines. Being able to bond with them is just an amazing experience. I feel like I should shout out, the OGs of AFG when I first started. A lot of the guys have rotated out of, leadership and stuff after, separation and all. So like Zach, for example, I mean, he's still in, of course, but, I know he's kind of been letting the reins go let other people take the role from him. So, kudos to him. There's so many people, but I really if I want to really just put it into an aspect, the OG guys that I came with of AFG, y'all know who you are. Shout out to y'all for making an amazing organization and community, and giving me the opportunity to show my skills. And, now that some of us have, gone our separate ways in terms of separation from the military, or kind of handing the reins over to somebody else to kind of take over, or just different aspects. We set up a really good community, and I feel like it's just going to go higher and higher.